The new Man United owners must be out of their mind after they came out with a crazy lie saying that the reason why they want to stick with Erik Ten Hag, which is one of the worst decisions they can do in their new time as the owners of Man United, is due to the lack of alternatives along with the cost. For one, that's a lie. There are plenty of alternatives out there that would come in and do a job at Man United way better than Erik Ten Hag can next season, even if you give him 400 million, right? There's plenty of managers, a handful of managers that would do a better job than Ten Hag, no doubt about it, and they have past experiences with other big clubs to prove it. And then the second thing, along with the cost, lads, is this not Man United, one of the biggest clubs in the world? Right up there with Real Madrid, Bayern Munich. That's what they said. Man United was one of the biggest, one of the richest clubs. And they're worrying about the cost of sacking a manager. Have the mighty have fallen. But let's take a look and break down that complete big lie that Man United has came out saying that there's a clear lack of alternatives. Well, I found a list here of 10 managers, and I believe there's, some of these are valid, some of these are not. They left the name out that I believe I would put in. But let's start off with number 1, Gareth Southgate. Would he do a better job than Ten Hag? No. I am a big critic of Erik Ten Hag, right? But Gareth Southgate cannot get the job done at Man United. I believe the England job is too big for him. Now you're going to put him in one of the most pressurized jobs in England. Definitely not happening. I believe if you get Gareth Southgate as a fan of an English team that isn't Man United, I would love to see Gareth Southgate go there, blank check, 5 years, get it done. That would be absolutely phenomenal for rival fans. But for Man United's sake, this would be a very bad option. He has no characteristics that would say, or past experience that say, I will succeed and bring Man United back. Definitely not. Second on the list, Graham Potter. Another one that I don't believe that will do better than Ten Hag. And I'm a Ten Hag critic. You might be thinking I'm a Ten Hag supporter. No, I'm far from it. But Graham Potter did a job at Brighton with no pressure. Then he goes to Chelsea with pressure. Absolutely has a catastrophic time at Chelsea, at a big club that has similar pressure as Man United. Not more pressure, but similar pressure. And he absolutely did a terrible job, and now he's unemployed. Now, that just shows you that he cannot manage under pressure, but he could manage a smaller club with less expectations. But when it comes to giving him big expectations, he just cannot perform. And I just think that was the test right there. If you could do it with big clubs, and he completely failed it. And then Brighton ended up doing, not too bad after he leaves. And De Zerbi, who is the manager that took over after, has done a decent job and, did decent in Europe. And that just shows you that maybe Graham Potter wasn't the reason for Brighton's success. Maybe it was the staff behind him. Now, third on the list, there we go. This is the number 1 guy. If I'm Man United, if I'm a Man United fan, if I work for Man United, I'm taking this decision. This is my number 1 guy that I want managing Man United next season, because it's the worst kept secret out there. And it's public knowledge, in fact, that Thomas Tuchel, even if he wins the Champions League, will most 99% chance that he will not be the manager of Bayern Munich next season. And he is looking to return to the Premier League. And I believe in Man United, and I'm the new owners, I go for him. Because he is exactly what Man United need right now. And they need success right now. We saw with the Ten Hag situation that there's no way you can rebuild that team. And it's going to be extremely difficult because, for one, he's not really going to be given much time. And as well as they absolutely were catastrophically bad with the funds that they were given. Erik Ten Hag blew 100 million on Anthony, sent 80 million pound Sancho back to the team. They bought him for 80 million, and now he's 1 game away from being in the Champions League final in Wembley. Crazy, right? So that just shows how he's managed the funds, right? Now, on the other hand, Thomas Tuchel can come in and you give him next season to kind of try to get back into the Champions League. Maybe it won't be too well, the results. You got to give him a bit of time, because he's going to come into a new squad, depending how much players he can bring in that he wants. It really just depends on funds. But if you give him 2 years, I believe he puts Man United back into the Champions League, and that's where you want to be if you're Man United. And it's not that big of a rebuild. He could definitely come in and use players that he's already got within the team. I think he could get the best out of Jadon Sancho because he's done it at Dortmund. He could get the best out of Marcus Rashford. I genuinely believe he could do that. I believe he can go out there and get the best out of Højlund, Garnacho. Bruno Fernandes is a player that he's worked with, similar players like him. Casemiro, I believe, is gone. The legs aren't there. Kobe Mainoo, I believe, would do great there. Luke Shaw, I'm not sure. Alessandro Martinez is a player I believe he'd like. Rafael Varane, I believe, is one that would stay. Harry Maguire, toodaloo, sir. Toodaloo. It's stuff like that. But I do believe that he would come in, solidify his defense first, bring in a couple center backs. Maybe he runs the 3-back, and he would go from there and then move forward. But he definitely doesn't have to really go out and sign wingers or attacking players. If anything, he'd have to get rid of Anthony the second day he's there. First day is say, oh, he's transfer listed. The second day, take the first offer that comes to the door. And then he brings back Sancho from loan. And he's like, you know what? At Dortmund, I worked with you. And now I'm going to get the best out of you yet again. Forget about that bald guy that was disrespecting you. I'm here, and we are going to do what we did at Dortmund. That's exactly what could happen, because if he's got the best out of Sancho once, he could do it again, and then maybe Sancho would want to stay. Now, there's a manager that would support him and believe in him and give him the opportunity that he deserves, because clearly he's proven it, getting loaned back to Dortmund mid-season, and he's one game away from putting them in the Champions League final. Insane right there. But number 4, Roberto Di Matteo. This is a similar one to Ten Hag, in my opinion. This is a manager that works with young talent well. We don't know how he does with big names. Obviously, we know what he's done with big names with Ten Hag after he got to Ajax. Before he got to Man United, we didn't know how he did with big names, and now we do know the way he's handled De Gea, Cristiano Ronaldo, Jadon Sancho. We know it's just out of his depth. He can't handle big names. He could work with young talents. Ten Hag does well with Garnacho and Kobe Mainoo, but when it comes to the big names, obviously we've seen out of his depth. Now, De Serbi, similar situation before he's got into similar situation as Ten Hag before he's got into Man United. He's doing well with young players. Evan Ferguson done well. You guys got guys like Stepunal. Sorry, I'm butchering his name. Tons of young players that he's worked with, he's done well with, but we still haven't seen him work with big name players, and I believe that's a thing you need with Man United, because Man United have that money to bring in big names, and that comes with big egos, and if you can't handle that, should it be managing Man United, and that's why Ten Hag should be sacked right there. Number 5, Thiago Motta. He would be a really good signing. I put him on the number 2 here, but the thing is, Thiago Motta, I don't see him leaving Italy. There's teams that he used to play for that are just desperate for him. You have, Juventus, AC Milan just fighting over Thiago Motta because he's came into Bologna and now he has him in Champions League qualification, or he's very close to it. Man United should look into this, try to offer him, the typical Man United deal where it's overpay so you can get out of Italy in order to get him if you don't get Thomas Tuchel, because he's revolutionized, football with Bologna. He's done well. He's changed the game there. And it's the same way. He's kind of like, he's done the effect with, similar to Xavi Alonso and Leverkusen. Obviously not as well because they haven't lost the game. But Bologna has far less talent than Bayern Leverkusen. And he has them in top 4 at the moment in Italy. So that should definitely be something that Man United should be looking at with Thiago Motta. Now, number 6, Zidane. Now, you might be saying, oh, well, he's done well with big name players, but the thing about Zidane is we don't know how he will do with small name players and a broken team. Zidane came in, stepped up with Real Madrid's Galacticos 2.0, right? With Cristiano Ronaldo, Gareth Bale, Benzema, Modric, Sergio Ramos, Rafael Varane, all these world-class players, and he's going to go from walking into that dressing room to Casemiro in his last legs. Kobe Mainoo instead of Ballon d'Or Luka Modric. You're going to be seeing Bruno Fernandes instead of Toni Kroos. Rasmus Højlund instead of Ballon d'Or Benzema. Garnacho instead of Cristiano Ronaldo at his prime. Gareth Bale instead of Rashford. Luke Shaw to Marcelo, Carvajal to Wan-Bissaka and Dalla. You know what I'm saying? It's just Harry Maguire to Sergio Ramos. Come on. Onana to, Courtois, or, Casillas when he was an assistant. It's just, look at the difference, difference in talent. He's done a great job with Real Madrid, but he had top talent, nothing but the best in the world, right? So we don't really know how he'll perform with the team that's, beaten down, broken apart, no direction at the moment. So that's one that if I were Man United, I'd stay away. It's a big name. It's a weird, it would be good for Zidane to prove himself if he were to succeed, but could tarnish his name. And that's why Zidane's probably never going to take the job due to the difficulty that it will come with. This lad right here has the best winning percentage out of them all, but the thing is, this is similar to De Zerbi. This is similar to Erik Ten Hag, young manager. He's done well with young talent, but how will he manage big names? And that's something that if I'm Man United, you've already tried a manager like that, go for a Thomas Tuchel. That's what I'd go for. He's showed that he can handle big names. He plays whoever he wants. He does not care. We saw what he's done with Lukaku, right? He did not care. He was 100 million, right? He gave him 2 months. He said, all right, you're not cutting it. Kai Havertz up top. And that's what you need at Man United. Who cares if Casemiro's getting, 300, 400K a week? Go in and put in the best player, not the one who wins the most money. And this lad right here, similar description of De Zerbi. 8, Lopetegui, come on. How did he leave England? Why is he unemployed? Because he had Wolves fighting relegation. Come on. Thomas Frank, he's an underrated one. I put him at number 3 because he's been at Brentford. He's, overperformed, took him out of relegation, and he has them there. They get big results out of big teams here and there. He does well with the little that he has, and I think he should get his top 6 opportunity soon. I think he would do bits for a team like Chelsea. Bits, I tell you. But he won't, or if I were Liverpool, I would have looked into him as well. But he still hasn't got his opportunity. I think this is one of those managers that if all else fails, you go for him. He's a safety bet, and it would be a great test for Thomas Frank, even though they do him dirty in this photo. And then number 10, Unai Emery's not leaving Aston Villa. Let's leave it at that. It'd be great, but he's not leaving. And the honorable mention will be Jose Mourinho. There is no way anybody in this world, if you know ball, think that Jose Mourinho would not do better than Erik Ten Hag if they were both given 300, 400 million next transfer window. You back Jose Mourinho, he will deliver you silverware. He was 1 game away from delivering it to Tottenham, who hasn't won silverware before anybody who's watching this video was born, all right? But, they decided to go with Ryan Mason in a final against Pep Guardiola and Man City instead of Jose Mourinho, who's made his name, right? His name at Real Madrid, right? His biggest ever. Because obviously there was a name for him winning the treble with Inter and winning the Champions League with Porto. But football was at its peak when Jose Mourinho and Real Madrid were taking on Pep Guardiola's arguably one of the greatest teams of all time, Barcelona. And then he has absolutely, breached allegedly 115 charges with that City team, and you sack Jose Mourinho before the final. And that's why Tottenham will never win, because they're allergic to winning if you think Ryan Mason had a better shot at beating Pep Guardiola and that City team than Jose Mourinho. And if I'm Man United, all else fails, Jose Mourinho, speed dial, Ten Hag, I want you out of here. I don't care what team gets you. Jose, come back, because you are the last manager that's brought us, significant silverware with the Europa League and the FA Cup. But anyways, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos. And leave a comment down below. Who do you think should be the manager next season for Man United? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching.